You can beat diabetes and insulin resistance. Simple hacks to reverse it now. It's possible to reverse type 2 diabetes by changing what you eat, and you don't have to give up carbs entirely. Instead, simple changes to how you eat your carbs can help put your diabetes into remission. Welcome to Diabetic 365, your daily guide to living well with diabetes. This isn't about rigid rules or limitations. It's about a 365-day journey toward better health, one step at a time. Whether you're newly diagnosed or have been managing diabetes for years, our goal is to provide you with the support, knowledge, and inspiration you need to thrive every day of the year. Today, we're talking about something powerful: reversing type 2 diabetes. It's possible to put this condition into remission by simply changing what you eat, and you don't have to cut out the carbs you love. In fact, simple changes to how you eat them can make all the difference. We'll explain insulin resistance, prediabetes, and type 2 diabetes. I'll debunk some myths and give you easy tips to reverse these conditions. The rise of type 2 diabetes is a serious worldwide problem. The numbers are shocking. The International Diabetes Federation reports that more than 500 million adults are currently living with the condition. Even more concerning, another 541 million people are in the prediabetes stage, meaning they are at high risk of developing it. These figures are growing every single year, pushing the total number of affected individuals to over 1 billion globally. This massive increase isn't a coincidence. It's directly tied to a condition called insulin resistance and is a direct consequence of our modern food environment. We are surrounded by processed foods, sugary drinks, and refined carbohydrates, all of which contribute to these health issues. While there's a clear need for food companies to adopt better practices and for governments to implement stricter regulations, personal knowledge is just as important. By educating ourselves, we can learn how to make healthier choices and navigate this challenging landscape. This information is crucial for anyone with diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance. It's also vital for those who know someone with these conditions. The most important takeaway is that these conditions are not simply a result of genetics. One of the most important things to understand is that type 2 diabetes is not a predetermined fate. While a family history might increase your risk, it is not a direct guarantee. This condition is primarily a result of the choices we make and the world we live in, particularly the abundance of unhealthy, processed foods. The fact that it's often a consequence of diet and lifestyle means that you have the power to influence your own health. It is not your fault that the food available today makes it so hard to stay healthy, but you can take control. Let's talk the powerful evidence that proves type 2 diabetes is not just genetic. The age shift was once known as adult-onset diabetes for a reason. It only affected adults. Today, we are seeing 5-year-old children diagnosed with this condition. This dramatic shift happened far too quickly for a change in our genes. Instead, it is a direct reflection of our changing food environment and sedentary lifestyles. Identical twins share 100% of their DNA. If type 2 diabetes were purely genetic, then when one twin was diagnosed, the other would be 2, every time. However, studies show that if one identical twin has type 2 diabetes, the other may not. This clearly demonstrates that lifestyle and environmental factors, not just genetics, play a crucial role in whether the disease develops. The most compelling proof is that hundreds of scientific studies have shown that type 2 diabetes can be put into remission. This means that by changing what you eat and how you live, you can reverse the condition to the point where blood sugar levels return to a healthy, non-diabetic range without medication. This incredible fact shows that a diagnosis is not a lifelong sentence. My tips are designed to be simple and won't require expensive or complicated diets. They are about empowering you with the knowledge to make small, impactful changes that can lead to life-changing results. To truly understand type 2 diabetes, we need to talk about its root cause. Insulin resistance. Think of insulin resistance not as an on-off switch, but as a spectrum. At any point in time, a person can be placed on this spectrum based on how well their body's cells respond to insulin. A person who is healthy is at the beginning of this spectrum, showing very little or no insulin resistance. Their body works efficiently. As someone's lifestyle habits begin to strain their system, they move along the spectrum into a pre-diabetic state, where their cells are starting to become more resistant to insulin. Finally, if the strain continues over a long period, they reach the end of the spectrum and are diagnosed as type 2 diabetic, meaning their body has become highly insulin resistant. The crucial takeaway is that your position on this spectrum is not permanent. It can change. By making positive changes to your lifestyle, you can move back down the spectrum, becoming less insulin resistant. The ultimate goal is to reverse the process and reclaim a healthy state. So, what exactly are insulin and glucose, and why is this resistance so important? Before we dive into insulin, we must first understand glucose. Glucose is your body's preferred and most essential source of energy. Every cell in your body, from your brain cells to your muscle cells, runs on glucose. We get this fuel from the food we eat, specifically from carbohydrates. These include both starches, like bread, pasta, and rice, and sugars, anything sweet, from a piece of fruit to a sugary drink. When we eat these foods, they are broken down into glucose, which then enters our bloodstream to be used as energy. Glucose is your body's main source of energy. You get it by eating carbs, which are either starches like bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes, or sugars, anything sweet from an apple to a cake. When you eat a lot of these foods, your glucose levels spike. These glucose spikes are a problem. They cause fatigue, cravings, and inflammation. Most importantly, they make your body release insulin. Your body releases insulin to control glucose spikes because they are unhealthy. Insulin acts like a key that helps move glucose out of your blood and into your cells for energy or storage. Just like with coffee, your body can become resistant to insulin. My first cup of coffee kept me awake for a long time, but after a few months, I needed 3 cups just to stay awake. My body had become resistant to the coffee. The same thing happens with insulin. When your body has to release a lot of insulin for a long time, it becomes resistant to it. It needs more and more insulin to move the same amount of glucose. This is insulin resistance. The consequences of insulin resistance. As insulin resistance gets worse, insulin can't get all the excess glucose out of your blood as easily. So the glucose levels in your blood begin to rise. This is what your doctor measures during a yearly checkup with a fasting glucose test. Here's what the numbers mean. Below 100 milligrams per deciliter, healthy, 100 to 126 milligrams per deciliter, pre-diabetic. Above 126 milligrams per deciliter, type 2 diabetic. These levels show how insulin resistant you are. They go hand in hand. You might wonder why a slightly high glucose level is a big deal. The difference in blood sugar between a healthy person and a type 2 diabetic is tiny, about half a sugar cube's worth. But this small increase has huge consequences. It can damage your cells, cause inflammation, and lead to serious health issues over time. The good news is, you have control. To reverse insulin resistance and diabetes, you need to lower your glucose and insulin levels. The best way to do this is by focusing on the carbs you eat. Most carbs turn into glucose during digestion. So, if you eat a lot of starches and sugars, like bread, pasta, pizza, soda, and fruit juice, you're giving your body a lot of glucose. You can download a free guide in the show description that lists foods that increase glucose, starches, and sugars, and foods that don't, proteins, fats, and fibers. Focus on eating more of the latter. For example, a breakfast of toast with jam and orange juice is all carbs and will raise your glucose. A better option is eggs with a side of tea. Studies have shown that reducing glucose spikes is the most effective way to put type 2 diabetes into remission. Even the American Diabetes Association now supports diets that lead to smaller glucose spikes. I've put together 10 easy hacks to help you lower your glucose levels. In my book, The Glucose Goddess Method, I had 3,000 people follow just 4 of these hacks for 4 weeks. Here were the results. 41% of people with diabetes saw an improvement. These hacks are simple. Eat a savory breakfast instead of a sweet one. Add a little vinegar before a meal once a day. Have a vegetable starter before your lunch or dinner. Go for a 10-minute walk after 1 meal a day. These are not strict diets. They are about helping you eat the carbs you love with less impact on your glucose levels. You can get a free 1-page summary of all 10 hacks in the description. Thousands of people have put their type 2 diabetes into remission using my hacks. Here are a couple of their stories. One person with diabetes and celiac disease was told changing their metabolism would be impossible, but they saw results within 4 days. In 4 months, their HbA1c, a measure of blood sugar over time, dropped from 9.6 to 4.7, and they are no longer diabetic. They also lost 25 kilos. Another person with type 2 diabetes felt more motivated and positive. Their blood sugar wasn't climbing as high after meals, and they were able to reduce their insulin dosage. This also improved their mood and energy levels. These success stories show that change is possible. If you are on medication, please tell your doctor you are applying these hacks, as your blood glucose levels can change fast. You have control over your health. It is possible to improve. Look at the free resources in the description to get started. I'm with you on this journey.